Hello again, Old School Ben, and today we will be talking about the elephant in the room, the behemoth of the PlayStation, the game that single-handedly defined the skateboarding genre and went on to spawn a plethora of imitators as well as a long string of sequels. Tony Hawk would be synonymous with both skateboarding, video games, and outrageous over-the-top gameplay for years. This is the game that started it all. Published by Activision, now known for annually whoring its franchises and frantically rushing development cycles, Activision was founded in 1979 to become the world's first independent developer and distributor of video games for home consoles, beginning with the Atari 2600. The game was developed by Neversoft, a software company that built itself from the rubble of Malibu Interactive, an offshoot of 90s comic book publisher Malibu Comics. The game was released to critical acclaim, boasting open, non-linear environments and tight controls. The game also featured endorsement from real skateboarding companies as well as the inclusion of real-life professional skateboarders, among which whom the game is titled, Tony Hawk. The game was released for the PlayStation in North America on August 31st, 1999, only a few months after Tony would land the elusively technical 900-degree rotation at ESPN's Summer X Games. This same year, Tony would claim his third gold medal in X Games vert doubles with his teammate Andy McDonald, who would go on to have his own skateboarding game, but more on this in the future. Neversoft addressed everything that was wrong with the genre. Instead of linear environments, the levels in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater opened up to allow exploration. Instead of racing towards the end of each course as seen in previous 3D skateboarding games such as Sega's Top Skater and EA's Street Skater, the game focuses more on trick variety and interaction with the skatable environments. This complete 180 of the genre plays much more like a platformer, as collectibles are an integral part of progressing through the game. Each level is designed around these collectibles and tasks, which is why the Tony Hawk franchise seemed to have more of a flow when compared to its competitors and imitators. The level design is brilliant, and even to this day, THPS is host to some of the most recognizable maps in gaming. Pair this with the great controls, an essential part of any platformer, and you have the winning recipe for an awesome game. So awesome, in fact, that it would figuratively cast a prolific shadow on almost every skateboarding game to follow. If you never played a Tony Hawk skateboarding game, you are missing out on one of the best successful skateboarding franchises in gaming history, and the first game was the masterpiece that christened the entire series. Real quick, I would like to address the music in the game. If you watched my Street Skater video, then you may already be familiar with skate punk, a loosely defined genre of music and lifestyle adopted by skaters throughout the 1980s and into the 90s. You will find no shortage of skate punk in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, as the soundtrack includes many staples of the genre: Suicidal Tendencies, The Dead Kennedys, and Goldfinger, just to name a few. There's also some Primus thrown in there for good measure. My only criticism about the stellar selections of tunes in this game is that there is a complete absence of any hip-hop tracks. Being a hip-hop head myself, I like to mix the pleasure of hip-hop and skateboarding whenever I can. The series would remedy this in future entries, making the first Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game an anomaly in this aspect, and I can hear you asking, who cares about the music in the game? Why is it even important? Well, shut your filthy whore mouth and let me explain. Before disc-based systems like the PlayStation, Saturn, and Dreamcast, you never heard licensed music in a game. Outside of the beeps and blips that cartridge-based consoles are notorious for, and the few exceptions that came about in the 16-bit era due to the Genesis with its Yamaha sound chip and the Super Nintendo synth sampling, you'd be hard-pressed to find quality audio that didn't stab your eardrums with jaggy square waves. As games made the transition to disc, the potential for quality audio increased with it. The featuring of licensed and composed music in games came about because of this and has been part of gaming ever since. In fact, it wasn't just the game's music that benefited from this. Discs also had the storage capability that allowed full motion video to be integrated with the game itself. Sure, there are plenty of games nowadays that rely on in-game video sequences as a crutch to pad its length, but in the late 90s, when this was a new thing, it was absolutely mind-blowing. At the time of its release, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater represented the future of what gaming would become. Bigger worlds to explore, quality licensed music, and full motion video were breakthroughs at the time and are now commonplace to the point that modern gamers take these features for granted. I absolutely fell in love with the PlayStation version of the game, but THPS was so popular it was ported to the Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, and even the short-lived console phone hybrid, the Nokia N-Gage. The Game Boy Color got in on the action with its own adaptation of the game with a successful line of sequels to follow on the Game Boy Advance. The game eventually made its way to the Xbox as THPS and its inevitable sequel was ported to Microsoft's first home console. Still, the game made its debut on the PlayStation, and as a result, the game feels most natural in my mind with a PlayStation controller in my hands. Speaking of controls, they are very intuitive and would be the template for many copycat games to follow. Holding X crouches for an ollie, the skateboard equivalent of jumping. Square allows you to execute flip tricks and circle allows you to grab. The triangle button is reserved for grinding and wall rides. You can also rotate in the air with the shoulder buttons or by holding left or right on the D-pad. This simple layout made it easy to port the game to different systems while still being familiar. THPS also introduced special tricks. Aside from your normal bag of tricks, special tricks can be performed by pressing a specific sequence of buttons while your special meter is full. Successfully landing tricks and combos will fill your meter, allowing you to perform special tricks for a massive amount of points. Each of the special tricks are different depending on which pro skater you pick, and they add even more variety to the game. There are two level types, competition levels and challenge levels. Challenge levels will push you to find secrets and collectibles as well as meeting the point requirements. When challenges are completed, you will receive a tape. For those kids who are too cool for old school, a tape is a device that was used before video was put onto DVDs. In fact, these tapes bear the logo of 411 Video Magazine. A now defunct line of skateboarding videos, 411 was the source for what was going on in skateboarding in the 90s. It's hard to believe that there was a time before the internet was popular, but during that time, 411 was the ultimate source for skateboarding news, footage, and even music. Collecting these tapes in THPS will unlock new levels and a selection of real skateboards you can ride as you play through the game. It's a very common thing now, but being able to select your board graphic in a skating game was a novel idea on the PlayStation, as was being able to play as a real professional skateboarder. There weren't too many games that allowed you to do this before. Even the dedicated skateboarding games like Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy and Street Skater force you to play as generic skateboarding stereotypes instead of real accomplished skaters. It was definitely an ingredient that led to the success of the franchise, but as skateboarding games continued to mock this model, it would prove to simply be the icing on the cake. And then there are the competition levels. The goal of these levels are to successfully rack up points without falling all under 1 minute. Whenever you eat a slice of shit pie, you will have points reduced, so consistency is key here. There are 3 heats you will be judged on, with your weakest attempt being exempt from the ruling. Placing higher than the other pros in the competition will win you a gold medal. The 9 pros give the game a healthy replay value as the career mode is not terribly long. Completing the game is accomplished by collecting all 30 tapes in the 6 challenge levels and placing first in the 3 competition levels. Doing so will unlock a short video of your selected skater as well as the secret character Officer Dick. You can also cheat in the game if you so choose, as there are button codes available to unlock everything, essentially completing the game for every character and unlocking every skater's ending video. You can also cheat to access slow-mo and turbo modes, and no late 90s game is complete without a big head mode. Button cheats expand the game even further, as it's the only way to unlock Private Carrera, a secret character that swaps out Officer Dick for a tanned girl in skimpy shorts. The success of THPS propelled Tony Hawk into an exciting new chapter in his career and invigorated skateboarding, breathing new life into the activity, with many people taking interest in skateboarding after the release of the game. In many ways, the attention the game received legitimized skateboarding, and Tony Hawk's following success did much to bolster this fact in the eyes of the public. What followed was a new wave in skateboarding and a new wave in skateboarding video games, looking to duplicate the success of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater formula. It would only be a year until Neversoft followed up the strong praise of THPS with the sequel, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. The game vastly improved on the first in so many aspects, including more nose slides, tail slides, and blunt slides as promised. The rest of the story is all about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. In my next video, I will be highlighting the effect that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater had on the video game industry, particularly how it influenced other skateboarding games to follow. Essentially, THPS did for the skateboarding genre what GoldenEye did for the first-person shooter, what Metal Gear Solid did for action-adventure stealth, and what Final Fantasy VII did for the RPG. It changed the fucking game. Notice that all of these games were released between 1997 and 1999. It was during this time that gaming had reached a new level of depth, never to look back. The future would be so bright for gaming, and as a new century glimmered beyond the horizon, a new age of gaming was born. The fact that you're watching this right now is proof of gaming's endurance through the generations. I tip my hat to Neversoft for giving me a life-changing experience and opening a door to the world of skateboarding, video games, and of course, skateboarding video game. Until we meet again. Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming back and joining me for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. It's probably one of the most prolific skateboarding games ever to exist, but the fun does not end there. I still have plenty of skateboarding games that I would like to share with you guys. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. If not, please leave me a comment. Let me know how I can improve. And I would like to share the Foot Soldier video. You can find it here at Foot Soldier Official. That is my skateboarding channel. Again, time for shout outs. My first shout out goes to Tiffany for allowing me to use her audio recording equipment. Without, I would not be able to bring you guys quality skateboarding content. My second shout out goes to Red Ace Production once more for allowing me to use his instrumental in my intro. He's got all kinds of awesome content, including craft beer reviews on his channel. Please check him out. Please like his videos and please subscribe, as he definitely works really hard to provide you guys quality content. My last shout out goes out to all you viewers out there who liked and subscribed the videos I've posted online. I really appreciate it. I also appreciate you guys checking out everything that I've done on Foot Soldier Official. That's pretty much all I've got for now, so until next time guys, we'll see you soon.